Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
So it's not yet resolved, but the correction
Hey, let me know when you're ready. Okay. Good morning and welcome to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025. As a courtesy to others, please turn off cell phones or other electronic devices which may disrupt the meeting. If attending via Zoom, please have your microphones muted at all times when you're not speaking. All items on the agenda and other correspondence and board and staff member reports are considered items for which the board may take action. The public will be given an opportunity to comment on each action item on the agenda when the item is heard, and comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group. Supervisor House, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Please rise and remove your hats. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. Next roll call, Natalie.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Here.
Supervisor House.
Here.
Supervisor Fuhrer.
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick. All present.
Great, thank you. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, and all matters listed under consent agenda are considered to be action items that are routine and can be enacted in one motion. Is there any, okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a first and a second. Any public comment on anything on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, motion passes. Next up is special presentation. First up is 117/2025, receive quarterly update from public safety departments. Morning.
Morning, Chair, members of the board, Matt Riccardi, Chief Probation Officer. So we're excited to be up here today on behalf of public safety, the District Attorney's Office, and the Sheriff's Department Probation. We have a longstanding partnership of working together to really promote public safety and put together great programs that are going to have an impact on our community. I'm excited today. I also gave everyone a copy of our business summary, which is a great reflection of all the work that our staff do throughout the year. I cannot be more proud of our staff. They just do amazing work. We provide great service and programs to the community, and there's a myriad of programs in there through our various sites that we operate. And so I hope you enjoy the reading. It's also located on our website, so we have the digital version there. And I just have to emphasize that we can't do what we do without the partnerships that we have with public safety and also the other county departments. We just simply wouldn't be able to have the impact that we do without them. And so for the presentation today, last year actually I presented a lot of the things, more of an overview of our department and a lot of the things that you'll see there in the business summary. But for the update today, we're gonna switch it up a little bit and we're gonna actually target one of our programs, which is our team center. And so program manager Stephanie Bealey is gonna come up and give a presentation, and then we also have a special guest, and we'd be happy to answer any questions when we're done. Thank you.
Thank you. Morning, Stephanie.
Mr. Chair and board members. Started here. I know Matt introduced me, but my name is Stephanie Bealey, and I'm the program manager of the adult unit at the probation department. Today I'll be going through the Team Center and explaining in detail of what we offer there. Yuba County Probation Department plays a critical role in connecting individuals to community supports and resources in an effort to reduce recidivism and improve long-term public safety in our community. Unfortunately, many justice-involved individuals in our county have limited access and transportation to essential programs which address their criminogenic needs such as education, employment, substance use disorder treatment, mental health therapy, and housing assistance. In 2012, we recognized the need to develop an all-inclusive one-stop center to help support these individuals in their rehabilitative journey. Through funding from Senate Bill 678, we opened our day reporting center, which later evolved into the Team Center in 2019. Since that time, we have continuously expanded and enhanced our programs to ensure long-term success for individuals reentering into the community. You can see we have many partnerships from within the community, and I will highlight a few of them as some of them will be talked about on the next slide. First 5, they attend a lot of our community events, and we host book readings and signings for local writers at the Team Center. They also participate in our trunk or treat event and our food distribution events that we carry out throughout the year. Sacramento County Office of Education provides an intervention specialist on site who facilitates programs, and they also meet with parolees that are in our community. Peachtree Health provides a licensed therapist who offers services to probation population and completes the initial assessments for our behavioral health courts, which is a part of our collaborative courts that we have. Yuba County One Stop Employment provides a specialist who support job seekers to help with resume writing, food handler certifications, referrals to jobs, and much more. And Successful Connections, which is dear to my heart as I started that in 2012. We collaborate with Sutter County Probation and California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation and over 20 community resources. This event provides access for clients to resources at a one-stop shop environment. This event is actually held in this room every 3 months. So we appreciate that. Moving forward, the programs that are offered at the Team Center. These programs help address the criminogenic needs to meet legal requirements for crimes that have been committed by the justice involved. Batters Treatment Program is a 52-week program that if someone commits an eligible crime, they are statutorily required to complete this program. For families, this is our outpatient substance abuse program and can be as long as a year program. Clients start in what we call treatment readiness, and that lasts about a month, and then they progress through phase 1 and 2, which consist of 2 classes each week. Phase 3 is what we call aftercare, and this helps support their journey as they're learning new skills in sobriety. We offer emotional intelligence. It's a 16-week program to address anger management and finding alternative solutions and dealing with relationships. Seeking Safety is a skills group for people with a history of trauma and addiction, focusing on healthy coping skills and problem solving. Mental health counseling, we have an on-site therapist from Peachtree Health to provide one-on-one therapy to probation clients. Parent Project is a 12-week program that provides direct step-by-step plan to prevent or intervene in teen negative choices. Triple P, which stands for Positive Parenting Program, offers practical tips and strategies to help child development in social skills and self-control. The difference between Parent Project and Triple P is Parent Project is preteen and teenage focused, and Triple P is younger, 0 to like 7 years old. And then Diploma Program, Yuba County Office of Education provides an adult education teacher to help the justice involved attain their high school diplomas. With looking forward to programs in the future, with the passing of Proposition 36 in December 2024, individuals now have the opportunity to opt for drug treatment in lieu of jail or prison time for certain drug offenses. If treatment is completed successfully, individuals can have their charges dismissed. This change further elevates the role of the probation department from preparing pretrial reports for the court to being directly involved in coordinating the drug assessments, treatment programs, and probation supervision for individuals participating in Prop 36, probation is involved in every aspect. As we prepare for the increased demand expected with Prop 36, we are committed to continuing to work while navigating the challenge of limited infrastructure and resources. Our goal remains focused on rehabilitation, accountability, and public safety, but we are aware of the need to expand our space and resources to effectively meet this growing demand. Now the fun part, the community events. Giving back to the community is an essential component to the success of our probation department. Yuba-Sutter Food Bank distribution. We, for the last 2 years, have partnered with the Yuba-Sutter Food Bank. We do a distribution event at the Team Center. The probation department employees also contribute and donate socks to hand out during that event. And we also have other community providers such as First Five and Aegis also in attendance to hand out flyers and information regarding their programs. The Trunk or Treat. Probation Department has hosted this event for the last 4 years at the Team Center. We actually close off a section of the street and decorate. It provides a safe environment to come and play games and spend an evening with family and friends. The Kiwanis Club donates hot dogs, chips, and waters for all participants. I think they gave out over 250 last year, so it's a good attended event. Also invited to decorate their vehicles is Marysville Police Department, Bi-County Ambulance, Yuba County Sheriff, Marysville Fire Department, and First Five, along with victim services and probation employees. Narcotics Anonymous meetings. A couple years ago, we began a meeting at the Team Center at noon. This also provides an environment for our clients that are attending for families to have an opportunity to host Narcotics Anonymous in a safe environment at the Team Center. And then we recently just expanded to another day. So we have them on Mondays and Fridays at noon, and they are open to the community as well. So the Team Center is dedicated in helping individuals involved with the justice system while offering support to the entire community with the focus of accountability, rehabilitation, and public safety. Thank you, and if you have any questions, I'm ready.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
Through the chair. Great presentation. Really gives me hope for our kids in the community with the efforts that you're putting in.
Supervisor Messick.
No, I was just going to say thank you for the presentation, and it's great to see all the partners you're working with. I'm on the First Five Commission as well, so it's great to.
Supervisor,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, you have them involved too. Thank you.
Absolutely, they're a great partner.
Yeah, through the chair, I think it's awesome what you guys do for the community, not just the justice involved youth, but with the Team Center over there. The opportunities given even after addiction and other issues that go on show people that there's a little bit of hope. So I'm all for any type of work we could do for the people. So appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to echo my fellow board members and say thank you. I probably share this every time we get a presentation from probation, but I know when I was first elected, I had an opportunity to meet with all the various departments, and by far, probation was the one that I knew the least about and was the most surprised about everything you guys do in the community. I mean, it blew me away. I had in my head that basically you were just like parole at the local level, and what you do is so much beyond that, and it's greatly appreciated. So I mean, it makes a huge difference in the community. So thank you very much. Any public comment on this presentation? Okay, thank you.
So with that being said, I would like to introduce our special guest speaker, Amanda Heredia, and she is here to share her personal story.
Good morning. I would like to say thanks to Tabitha and Veronica for having faith in me, to be successful with probation and giving me the opportunity to do the For Families program. Thanks to Dawn and Michael for giving me the opportunity to have to attend 2 NA meetings a week and let me share my story. Without me having to attend NA meetings, I would have never made it this far. Because of Dahl and Michael, I had a chance to do the second chance high school diploma, which I was able to finally get my high school diploma. Also was offered the food handling program where I received my food handling certificate. Through the Four Families program, I have learned to love myself and live without the use of drugs and alcohol and learn to be of service. Thanks to Jessica for telling me about the programs they offer. Thanks to Ivana and Lily for enrolling me into the One Stop program where I have a chance to start the WEX program. Without the programs that probation and the Team Center offer, I would have never probably got clean and sober and would be successful. But due to the programs that probation and the Team Center offer, I have learned to live a new life without the use of drugs and alcohol. And now a little over 11 months clean and sober and able to be successful. Also through the programs, I was able to learn about myself and learn my self-worth and to have self-care. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know if you guys had any more questions or concerns about anything.
Through the chair, congratulations on your progress and all the opportunities you're taking. Good work.
I just wanted to mention also Amanda gives back to the community. She chairs one of the Narcotics Anonymous at our Team Center every Monday and Friday. So she is giving back. So that's also amazing. So, good job.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda, for coming today and sharing your story, and congratulations. Okay, so that's it for this item, correct? Okay, so with that, we will move on to the next item, which is 107, 2025, present a proclamation to the California Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, recognizing March 2025 as National Nutrition Month. Do we have someone here today from that organization? No? Okay. So I guess we'll just move on to the next item then. Okay. And the next item is 104, 2025, receive update from Yuba County Resource Conservation District.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for setting some time aside for me to talk to you this morning. My name is DJ Baker, and I'm the Executive Director of the Yuba County Resource Conservation District. So I'm here today to give you an update on what we've been doing for the past few years. But before we get into that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Yuba County. In fact, I've spent all but 3 years of my life in Yuba County. And you can see here a picture of myself and my family. That's what a typical weekend looks like. We're always running around the property and doing work. I think we were doing fencing in this picture. And in the background, you can see a house which we just finished building in Yuba County. So it's safe to say that our roots are down in this area. Most of my time has been spent in the foothills, and it's near and dear to my heart. It's been a long journey to get where I am today. I worked construction out of high school. Shortly after, I became a volunteer firefighter with the Loma Rica Browns Valley Fire Protection District. Got my dream job of a wildland firefighter for CAL FIRE. Unfortunately, a work-related injury took me out of that game, so I went back to construction, but it turns out a wrist injury makes it difficult to swing a hammer every day. So I went back to school and earned a degree in wildlife and fish conservation biology from UC Davis, and shortly after that landed in the world of resource conservation districts, or RCDs. And because of that, I get to essentially work in my own backyard, in where I grew up. But I didn't come here to talk all about me. Let's get into the Resource Conservation District. The Resource Conservation District in Yuba County assists landowners and land managers in providing stewardship of the county's natural resources and educates stakeholders and policymakers about the county's natural resource base. So the Resource Conservation District was in a state of hibernation for some time and was reinvigorated in the year 2019 by the members of the board at that time and some other state affiliates. And they went through a process of rebuilding. The board of directors at that time As you know, it was adjacent to the COVID pandemic. Throughout this time, they had to essentially rediscover what this new RCD, Resource Conservation District, was going to be about, kind of building the foundation for what the goals were going to be in the community. And the goals that they came up with were to reduce the erosion, sedimentation, pollution, and reduce fire risk, provide a forum and facilitation for the resolution of conservation issues, a place to talk about these things, assist with wildfire protection and enhancement with wildfire hazard mitigation, promote recreation and tourism, increase farm, range, and forest sustainability. We have all of those resources in the county, and improve its own viability to make sure the RCD is around for years to come. So what have we been up to? We've been doing a lot of partnership development, project planning, and then developing those projects, looking to become more involved in Yuba County, always looking for that opportunity, and pursuing funding. So we are solely grant funded right now, and pursuing those grants takes up a large majority of our time. Some of the projects that we have going on currently, one of them is called Cow Recycle. It's a farm and ranch cleanup grant. And what that does is it pays for the removal of illegally dumped materials on farm and ranch land. So many orchards out here are prone to having illegal dumping, and we supply the funds for that farmer or rancher to be able to clean that up and secure the property with gates or fences. We also provide a game camera, which will actually send a picture to the owner's cell phone, knowing that someone is there at any time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Then they can notify law enforcement to get them out there. Here's some before and after pictures of some debris that we've cleaned up. Slide through there. There's an example of some gates that we've put up. Some more debris. And we've also been involved in the planning and organization of a Community Climate Action Day at Yes Charter Academy in Oregon House. They purchased an approximate 5-acre lot next to the school, and together with the Yuba Watershed Protection and Fire Safe Council, us, our organization, Say Love, and a few others put together a wildfire resilience volunteer day. So here we have about 46 volunteers that all got together with hand tools and cut down some brush to help create a more fire resilient environment near the school. Here's some before and after pictures of that. Before, you see all the brush still on the trees, and the after, you can see it all piled there on the side of the road, ready to be chipped in the near future. We've also been successful in receiving 2 grant awards for wildfire prevention and fuel reduction. One project was approximately $490,000 from a CAL FIRE wildfire prevention grant. This is 2 parcels adjacent to each other off of Moonshine Road next to Bullards Bar Reservoir. The second project is from a wildfire resilience block grant in partnership with our state affiliate, the California Association of Resource Conservation Districts. That is approximately $485,000, and we are focusing on smaller acreage landowners for that project. Both of these projects are funded to treat up to 100 acres, but they both have different roles in the community. One, larger landowners. The second is for smaller acreage landowners. Here's a map of those 2 projects. You can see the wildfire prevention grant highlighted there where the Bullards Bar Reservoir, and the wildfire resilience block grant. We're tentatively calling it the Yuba County Landowner Assistance Program, or YCLAP, but I'm still waiting on board approval to officiate that name. That one is geared towards the Regent Way and like Winding Way areas, which are a very high risk. Here's a snapshot of what our annual projection looked like in the past, and it's projected to look like in the future. As you can see, the funds that are going to be coming in have quite the increase as we look into the future, which is a very good thing. And here is a slide of our total income versus our total expenses in the past and then into this year. So if you take a look at this, you can see that we're pretty much breaking even. 2024, we were a little in the hole there, and 2025 is finally when we're starting to get more income than expenses. Granted, I should point out that that difference there is only $12,000. So how did we get here today? How did we develop all these programs and get to where we're finally increasing that income? Thanks to the Department of Conservation and a group called the Sierra Nevada Conservancy, we were awarded a Regional Forest and Fire Capacity Program grant. So this is a capacity building grant. We received $170,000. And the grant term, it was a 2-year grant. Started November 22, ended November 2024. So what costs were covered in this grant? It's a capacity building grant. I know what that means, but I can't guarantee that you all do because I'm new to all this as well. It paid for grant research for forest health and wildfire resilience projects. It paid for administrative duties, board meeting prep, and partnership development and collaboration, which is a key thing to be doing in order to gain partnerships. Today, even though this capacity building grant has expired, we still have all those same costs. We have an annual budget that we have to an annual audit that we have to complete every year. We have the grant research, administrative duties, board meeting prep, partnership, and collaboration. And none of these are directly covered through grant funds. But there is a way. It's called the indirect rate. So with an indirect rate, we can charge a percentage. For the sake of this slide, we're going to say 12%. And for the sake of this employee, we're going to say that employee worked half of his 40-hour work week on a project-specific grant and half of that on administrative duties. We're going to say, for easy math, $20 an hour, 40-hour work week equals $800. Unfortunately, we can only charge half of this person's time to that grant, right? So if we use 2 weeks at that rate, we come with $800 we can charge to that project grant. 12% of that is only $96. So although this is possible, you need a really large reserve of cash to be able to front that money and carry it through until more project work is done, when you can collect that indirect rate off of contractor payments and things like that. Larger sums than just staff time. So what we're asking today, we're asking for your support. Financial support is needed to keep the Resource Conservation District in Yuba County viable and to make sure that we're around for years to come. We're asking for $60,000 to $80,000 annually just for a couple of years to enable us that reserve to be able to carry through until the indirect rate brings us to the end. So right now would be a good time for questions if time permits. I'll also stay around for the duration of the meeting to catch you afterwards if you have any questions then that you think of.
Thank you, DJ. Any questions or comments from board members?
Yes, I have some questions, DJ. The grant you talked about for Regent Way and that area, have those funds been used up now, or is that something you're just getting started on?
We are just getting started on that. We
Okay.
should have the application approved at this next board meeting to start getting it going.
And then have you gotten that out to the property owners? Because we've been working directly with them on alternate access, an emergency evacuation access and things like that. These funds are going to be for individuals to masticate their property or clear their property.
So we will pay a contractor to go out and do the work. Okay. And the 100 acres has already been accounted for shortly after that application was submitted. I wanted to ensure that we would have enough property owners interested, which I kind of had a feeling wasn't going to be an issue, but I wanted to make sure of that before we pursued the funding.
So it's all spoken for?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And you said, that was my next question, you said up to 100 acres. I think it was 485,000, up to 100 acres.
Correct.
What if you can do more than 100 acres with 485,000? Can we do more than 100 acres?
Yeah, so that's the idea. In the grant writing is very specific. So I tried to be as ambiguous as possible with the goal of treating additional acreage. So our bare minimum was the creation of 5 management plans on 5 different parcels with a minimum of 100 acres of treatment. So if we could do more, depending on what the contractor's rate is, that would be fabulous.
So my next question, when you put that out there, did you have more property owners sign up than you have funding for?
Yes.
So you could do more?
Yes.
You have property owners that want to do more? All right.
Absolutely.
I'll
Which
get
is
a
a good problem.
I'll get a hold of you later with some
Sounds
ideas.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Through the chair. Thank you very much for the presentation. It's apparently you brought the Resource Conservation District back from the dead. Things do come back. And this $80,000 that you're looking for, is that possible that we could actually loan them while they're searching for grants? And depending upon what they find, could we grant them the difference between what you find and what you need to keep this going?
So if the board is agreeable, maybe we could provide direction to staff to come back to us with a proposal.
Okay,
Is that?
good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be in front of the board in June for our 25-26 budget, and at that time we can present all. I'm sure there'll be numerous requests from different organizations, and we can compile that and then provide get some direction from the board at that time on how to provide the funds to the different organizations that are requesting.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Through the chair. So you have a use for the 80,000, and you'd basically get 12% back from using that. You get direct reimbursement from a grant, and then 12% on top of that to help administer. Is that what I was saying?
So the $80,000 that we are asking for would go directly towards staff time. So myself as the executive director, a lot of what I do doesn't get covered by the grants because it's the grant research aspect, the supervisory role, things like that. So what it would do, it would allow us that time to be able to research grants, to secure more funding.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, but every project tied invoice that we send in, that is what we can request that 12% indirect rate off of.
Okay. So if you have more money to spend on a project, you'll get that 12% return
Correct.
as well. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any public comment on this item? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you, DJ.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next we'll move on to 128-2025, receive presentation from Human Resources regarding recruitment videos.
Good morning.
Morning.
Chair, members of the board, Tiffany Manuel, Human Resources Director. As part of our ongoing efforts in workforce development and culture, HR, along with our Workforce Development Committee, has been working on a program to strengthen how we attract, develop, recognize, and retain employees. Today, I'm excited to share 2 recruitment videos that highlight Yuba County as an employer and showcase what we expect from potential candidates, as well as what we offer in return. These videos are part of our broader strategic plan focused on the entire employee experience. Our goal is to ensure that Yuba County is not only a great place to work, but also a place where employees can grow and thrive, and we believe these videos capture just that. The first video offers insight into our workplace culture and showcases the many opportunities and career paths the county has to offer. The second video has an upbeat feel that is designed to appeal to the newer generation entering the workforce. One thing I'd like to point out before I share the videos with your board is that every person in the video is a county employee or a relative of a county employee, with the exception of Ms. Tyndall, who is a teacher at Covalot Elementary, and Judge Gibbons. The teenagers you'll see in the video are sons and daughters of our employees, further emphasizing the sense of community that we have within our organization. So with that, I will attempt to play the videos. So the first video is what we refer to as our long video. It's about 3 minutes. A lot of steps.
What I love about Yuba County is it's a place where people can get experience quickly. We do have this all hands on deck approach, and you would not get any better experience than you could get here in Yuba County.
I see the little ones coming in when they're very young, and then they're starting school, they're in middle school, high school, and even going off to college. You build that relationship. If you're looking for that satisfaction that I'm doing something for the community, then definitely Yuba County is the place to be.
I have children who have grown up since I've worked here, and I found Yuba County to be very flexible in supporting my needs as a parent and being able to still have time to spend with my family and be there for the important milestones with them as well. And I think we try to offer those same things to all of our employees here.
As far as the play part, we've got lakes, we've got rivers. There's a lot of outdoor activity to do in Yuba County.
As a young prosecutor coming in, you're getting really valuable experience in a supportive environment or with you every step of the way. There's no sense of you have to earn your stripes as a prosecutor. We're here to help you to get the experience that you need to feel confident in the courtroom, dealing with victims, families, those sorts of things.
When I meet new employees, I ask them, why did you come to Yuba County? And oftentimes it's because they heard how great of a place it is to work from their friends. That's a really nice compliment when your friends are trying to encourage you to come here and work.
Ever since I've been here, there's always been an opportunity to grow. Back in 2006, I got the position, and ever since then, the county has fully supported my journey.
One of the benefits of working in Yuba County is that you have enough vacation time. It's kind of the opposite of a lot of workplaces where there's a disincentive to using the time that you've earned. We get paid well. I make enough money to provide for my family, and I think all of us do. It's a blessing to be in a place where we get rewarded for our work with pay, but also not expectations where it has to be our full life. We want lives outside of this. Full-time dad, full-time husband, but I'm able to do a full-time job as well.
I would encourage anybody who's interested to come and spend some time. We love having people come and job shadow, especially students. We have various internship programs. It really gives you a first-hand look of what you would be experiencing if you worked here.
We actually have a group of attorneys. We jokingly call ourselves the Swole Squad. We're not all swole. Every day at lunch, we drive across town. We work out for 45 minutes to an hour. It breaks up my day. Then in the afternoon, I just finish up whatever it was. I'm in court probably 3 or 4 mornings a week. My job every day is to do the right thing. It's really rewarding to be able to do that.
Anybody that's wanting to work here at the county, you will find the right job, whether it's from the junior level up to the manager and above. If somebody doesn't have the greatest education, that's okay. I would encourage them to reach out to the human resources team, because I think sometimes you're reading a job description, it's like, oh, I can't do that because I don't have this. Whether it's the qualification or experience, I think the county's flexible to some extent and will work with you depending on what you're looking for. Don't sell yourself short.
We're in a small enough county to where relationships matter the most. You can come in, develop a good reputation, you have lots of opportunity and lots of freedom to do the right thing.
I'll play the second video, which is shorter, I think just under a minute.
Okay.
To go through all of those steps again, so bear with me.
No problem. While you're doing that, just comment, great video. Loved it.
Isn't it fun? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really informative, I think.
Through the chair, that's one of the few first videos that I've ever seen that really explored the opportunities here in Yuba County. It's amazing how fast we've grown. People want to understand that you probably have about 10,000 lots in the hopper, and 80% of the growth happens south of the airport. And thank you very much for showing what a great place this is to work.
Thank you for those comments. I know that our team, as you can see, collaborated with many people from across the county, and it was really a lot of hard work for them to pull all this together. So
you reach areas that people take for granted. That's unfortunate, but we've grown accustomed to having excellence in the staff. So thank you.
Okay. Looks like this one is about a minute or so. Am I ready, Natalie? Am I good?
Good morning, class. Have you heard? Yuba County is growing. Do you want to be part of our future? Calling all influencers, trailblazers, visionaries, problem solvers, those who build, shape, and move our community forward.
Is she talking to us? I don't know.
Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned professional, Yuba County has a place for you. Careers in safety, human services, the library, law enforcement, veterans services, planning, building, maintenance, and administration. Yuba County provides an opportunity to grow and advance within your career. We're calling on those that think creatively and find solutions to unknown problems, those who don't settle for the status quo, those who see something and say,
hey, I can fix that.
Yuba County is at its best when we embrace our diverse community, and we want you to know that
Siempre tienes un lugar en la mesa.
if you're ready for a new opportunity, we're looking for you. So come in today.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you, the creative thinkers, pioneers, difference makers, collaborators, and future leaders. Yuba County is the place to be. Let's get to work.
Any questions?
It's turning itself off again. Great work on the videos. I just wanted to ask, is there a planned amount of marketing that's going to go out with this? Is it going to be locally targeted, regional, nationwide, search engine type stuff?
Yeah, all of the above, I guess, depending upon the time of the year and what's going on. We have, our campaigns for this year that, of course, will target social media, the county's website, as we attend recruitment events. We intend to use the long video for certain situations and the short video for other situations. Some of the advertising for next fiscal year will be dependent upon budget. And coming in June, as Kevin mentioned earlier, the plan is for me to come and present to your board some additional information on workforce development efforts as part of the budget presentation. So yeah, we definitely have ideas for our campaign to use the videos in meaningful ways.
Great, thank you. Any public comment on this item? Okay, thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Next up is public communications. Any person may speak about any subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and not already on today's agenda. Total amount of time allotted for receiving public communications shall be limited to a total of 15 minutes, and each individual or group will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Prior to this time, speakers are requested to fill out a request to speak card and submit it to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. And if you are on Zoom, you can raise your hand. Please note, no board action can be taken on comments made under this heading. Any comments on things not on the agenda?
Yes, I have one request to speak card and no hands raised on Zoom.
Okay.
Tony Farley.
Hey, Vasquez.
Morning, Tony.
Good morning. Bonjour. Tony Farley, South UC, South Shore County, Walton High Park. Thank you, HR lady, for that video. As a millennial and Gen Z, I like that video. It reminds me of the LAPD, LAPD Reserve commercial for LAPD. Reminds me like that. Help young people get into government. I appreciate that. Need more of that. As a nerd, I like my computer stuff, I like my government stuff. So, as a nerd, I got your approval for that. Thank you to Under Sheriff. I see Sheriff part in that video. Thank you, Under Sheriff. Thank you, elections. I also saw DA there. DA is good. I also saw Tony and Jennifer's department. It's good stuff. Kevin Saxon right there. That's Kevin. McGeorge lady, McGeorge School of Law lady, my favorite school, McGeorge. And Gray Bradford, Sacramento guy. Sacramento, to Washington, Sacramento. John Miss, the cowboy farmer, and John Deere tractor. Seth Fuhrer, a diversity guy with a big beard. I vote Seth Fuhrer as chairman of the Board of Supervisors. And diversity year of the month. House, Mr. House, his highway commissioner nearby the Buchanan border in Marysville. Andy Vasquez, the VAW, Veteran Foreign Wars, U.S. Marine Corps Reserve Deputy guy. And thank you for your service. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Tony. Okay, seeing no more public comment, we will move on to county departments, starting with item 114, Sheriff Corner, approve amendment number 3 to the software and services agreement 901639 with Sunridge Systems Incorporated, adding a RIM software license to Linda Fire Protection District. Morning, Under Sheriff.
Good morning. Good morning, board. Nick Morzinski, Under Sheriff with the Sheriff's Department. Man, I got some tough acts to follow. So first and foremost, before we get into this, Tiffany, great job on that recruitment video. I think that's really sharp. Makes me excited to work here, so that's a good thing. This agenda item is actually twofold. Number one is to amend the service agreement with Sunridge. As you guys may be familiar with, Sunridge is the public safety software that we entered into agreement with last year to update all of our software. And this is to bring Linda Fire Protection District under that same agreement. As you may know, we dispatch for Linda Fire. This is a natural progression in it. This would bring that same software to their fire apparatus and their reporting through our dispatch. The second part of it is an MOU with Linda Fire to be able to pay for that agreement. So the service agreement itself, in order to bring them into our license, has a cost of $13,550 and then an annual cost of $1,600 or so. That is all going to be picked up by Linda Fire Protection District. So there's not going to be any financial impact to the county whatsoever. It's a great thing for public safety. We have a great relationship with them, and that's just continued to build that. So I can take any questions if you guys have them.
Any questions or comments from the board? Okay. Seeing none, any public comment on this item? Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion?
Move to approve.
I don't know who was first.
So moved.
Second. Okay. We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, next we'll move on to 109, 2025, Health and Human Services. Adopt resolution authorizing Yuba County Health and Human Services Department to explore the feasibility of directly applying for its own planning, service area, and local area agency on aging designation from the California Department of Aging for direct funding through the Older Americans Act and Older Californians Act, and administer these programs within Yuba County.
That is a tongue twister, is it not? Yes. All right. Well, good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is Tony Gordon. I'm the Deputy Director for the Yuba County Child and Adult Protective Services Division at Health and Human Services Department. And I am coming before you today to recommend that the Board of Supervisors adopt the resolution of the board in support of Health and Human Services Department to explore the feasibility of applying for a designation as a local planning service area and local area agency on aging. And the future application would be submitted to the California Department of Aging, and if approved, This application could provide direct access funding and oversight of services that are authorized under both the Older Americans Act and the Older Californians Act. Now, currently, the California Department of Aging contracts with 33 area agency on agings, or AAAs. That's the term we'll use. And they contract throughout the state to provide a variety of services authorized under both the state and federal funding. Now, funding is distributed to these organizations via a similar process such as an RFP. An entity can apply for the application or can submit an application. The applications are reviewed and funds are provided to these entities if they can provide services in a physically responsible manner. Currently, Yuba County is a member of a joint powers agreement on a JPA that was established on March 2nd, 1983. Counties entered this JPA include Nevada, Placer, Sacramento, Sierra, Sutter, Yolo, and Yuba. And the JPA is overseen by the Area Agency on Aging 4. That's who our representatives are. Now, the purpose is to develop and implement programs that meet the needs of aging adults 60 or older, or adults with disability. They obtain financial assistance from the state, federal agencies, and they have these funds to effectively study, plan, and coordinate programs designed to meet the needs of the aging. And if these programs do not exist, their purpose is to develop and implement these programs. The AAA-4 may accept contributions and participate in fundraising activities with either private or public sectors. They have the power to contract, acquire, hold, and sell property. They employ staff. They perform any other acts necessary for the purpose of administering these programs that they oversee. Now, the AAA-4 also operates under a governing board, and the board has the authority to designate the AAA-4 to make applications for funding, to accept grants. They can enter into contracts with federal or state governments or any other public or private party to carry out the functions described in the outline of the JPA. And this process is similar to Health and Human Services. We come before the board, we want to access funds. We ask the board, is this the direction that you want us to go? Or we have a contract to provide certain amount of services. We need your direction and approval. Now, some of the services administered by the AAA-4 entitle programs that are similar to Meals on Wheels. There are housing modifications where they can provide wheelchair ramps or bars and showers. There's fall prevention services, legal services, and some counties in the GPA actually facilitate a 2-on-1 service. Now, across the board, not all services in our JPA are provided in each county. An example would currently be that Freed is under contract to provide home modifications, those wheelchair ramps, those bars in the shower. They only provide them into Sutter County, but not to Yuba. Even though both in our AAA-4 action plan, Yuba-Sutter are linked together, our budgets and services are different. There's a similar program. It's called PEARLS. It's an evidence-based program, and this program provides in-home counseling programs that help adults who are dealing with depression. They get 6 to 8 visits with a therapist, and it's a very successful program. That program is only offered in Sacramento. So there's a methodology currently used by the AAA-4 that distributes the funds, and those funds are distributed based upon the recommendations of the board, and they're population-based. Those data comes from the California Department of Aging, so there is some actual data that supports how these funds are supposed to be distributed. Now, under the JPA, the governing board consists of 17 members. There are 2 appointed by each of the Board of Supervisors in the counties of Nevada, Placer, Sierra, Sutter, Yolo, and Yuba, and 5 are appointed by Sacramento. So you see when there comes a vote to some of the agencies have more pool, I guess I would say, than maybe that we do as a smaller county. In each of these counties, Nevada, Placer, Sierra, Sutter, Yolo, and Yuba, one of the appointees shall be a member of the Board of Supervisors, and the other member will be appointed from a list of candidates screened and recommended by the County Commission on Aging. And again, these governing boards help the AAA-4 establish policies, rules for expenditures. They adopt an area plan on budgeting. And I could go down a rabbit hole, but there is also an advisory committee to the board, and that consists of over 35 different members of the community. Currently, per the JPA, any county that is a part of this agreement may request to terminate their participation in this agreement at the end of the Area Agency on Aging 4 fiscal year. You have to provide a written notice of your intent to terminate, and that must take place at least 6 months prior to the end of the fiscal year, in which such notice is given to all members of the agreement and in the California Department of Aging. Any notification to withdraw from that JPA needs to be provided before December of the calendar year. Currently, their budget cycle is through 25 through 27, so there is a time frame. And I guess from my research of what I'm seeing, you could request to withdraw from that designation, but if you went the route to establish your own JPA, again, it's an RFP process. You may not be authorized to take those funds into the county. Those funds would still go to the AAA4, but as you removed, you would not have a member on that board to recommend where those funds could be spent. So basically what I do believe is that exploring the feasibility of administrating this AAA program, it does align with the Yuba County Strategic Plan for fostering efficient and physically responsible service delivery. This initiative supports the role of Health and Human Services to ensure that services are operating effectively within a culture of collaboration, empowerment, and an accountability. And so basically that is an overview of the process, and there are still a lot of questions and procedures to look into. And I know at this time I don't have those answers, but I am happy to try to answer any of the questions of the Board of Supervisors if you have any at this time.
Does the board have questions and comments?
Yes, through the chair. Thank you very much, Tony. And is something to take staff and existing staff and absorb these services efficiently. And we went through a shortage of meals back in October that apparently we dropped through the cracks, and so did Sacramento. Sacramento didn't find out about that until about a month ago, and they're looking into that right now. But tell your staff thank you very much for being able to assume this responsibility and keep us from falling through the cracks, because that's just unelected people that decided to cut off 66 meals arbitrarily because they ran out of funds. So thank you very much, Tony.
On some of the numbers, just to, if you know them, we currently get allocated on a population basis. So what would be the increase that you think would occur if we were to do it ourselves as opposed to being part of the agency? Is the income to our area? I understand the programs differ between areas, but is the actual money spent in our area going to be shifting?
Can you I will go back to, I'll try to answer the best I can for that. So how it's set up currently, just to give you an example of when the governing board gets together, they sometimes have a minimum allocation that they want to distribute to the counties based upon the population. Sierra County in particular does not have the population to support it. However, this board has made the recommendation to provide them a baseline amount of services. When you do that, that funding has to come from somewhere. Is it going to come from Yuba's part, Sutter's part? And so an example of the 24-25 budget was for Yuba to receive $427,000. The proposed budget is going to be for 25-26 a reduction of $369,000. And so what gets confusing is when you take certain funds from the Older Americans Act, they're designated, you don't have a lot of flexibility to do that. There were some other services that were available for all the counties to use. And then when you pull some of the data, Yuba County used maybe like 14 or 15%, and Sacramento used like 80% of the pot of money. So it's very confusing to basically understand that. And again, there are 33 different AAAs across the state. I do attend meetings monthly with deputy directors across, and sometimes this has come up. And so none of the 33 AAAs across the state do it the same way. And so that's the part of the understanding for us to say, what funds would we get? Working with contracts and working with sometimes allocations that come to us. Sometimes it's cheaper to contract with an entity to provide the services. You don't there's the salaries involved, but you don't have to pay the benefits, right? And then sometimes it's better for us to take those programs internally for us, but there are admin costs that come. And a lot of times working with government entities, you're capped at an allocation or you're capped at 10 to 15% for your admin costs. So sometimes it's not cost effective to house it internally. So I guess that's my answer to you is I don't have the exact answer of what we would be getting, but you would have an idea of like, should we handle those programs internally or would you contract for those?
In regards to the current agency in Aging 4, they have how many paid staff?
I do not know.
Are we looking to, if we take it in-house, are we looking to add 1, 2? How much staff would we be adding to manage it from in-house, or there would be no additional staffing cost?
Well, my recommendation would be to actually evaluate the other programs throughout the state to see if how many they do need internally. I think you have to administer that program. I mean, I think it would be similar to what we do now. It's myself as a deputy director, whether there's a program manager. Supervisor Vasquez recommended, some great things about our staff. I'm going to say Darcy Knox is an analyst that we have that does a lot of work. And so really it is going to be who administers that program. It seems a lot of the counties that I have spoken to contract for services. Meals on Wheels is a big one, right? There's legal services. We don't have internally at Health and Human Services a legal representative, so maybe that's something that we would do through Yuba-Sutter. So I think some of those questions that you are asking are very valid. I think those are things that we need to write down, and as we explore this option, my recommendation is just to do some research to see, is it even feasible? Should we do this, or do we continue moving the route with the AAA4 that we have? But I think it goes along to fact to say that this JPA was signed in 1983 and we haven't evaluated it back then. I was in 8th grade in 1983 and I'm getting ready to retire after 30-something years of service of working for the county. So I think it's just good business that we actually just look at it and then see and compare ourselves to other agencies, other entities that have similar populations. What are some of the programs that are being administered?
And then I just want to make sure I understood the answer to the previous question. We were receiving 400 something and we're going to be losing 300 something of that. So we're going to have a 75% reduction.
Us as the county, the allocation for funds spent on our government. We don't receive those funds, the AAA4, but yes, there is a reduction that is going to be because they are going to, some of the other counties might be getting more money, right? Or their cut to support that Sierra County might be smaller. And so that's what I think you have to look at when you do go to these votes is we have 2 votes. Other counties may have 5. Sacramento has 5. Placer is a big, powerful county, right? They work a lot probably with Sacramento. Maybe there's things in alliance. So I think it's just something that you have to look at too without speculating too much. But you're right. The recommendation that was shows a reduction. And again, a board member, Supervisor Vasquez, now goes to the board and is recommending those things. So, but again, he may not have the votes or necessarily to always get, we don't want to make that big of a cut that compares to us. And then you do have to, Supervisor Vasquez has been in contact with us when we go to those meetings. We do give him some advice looking at some of these things. And so you can move some funds around and we're wanting to make sure that the funding that we do receive is specifically targeted from the recommendations that come out of the Commission on Aging. It seems to be Meals on Wheels is a big indicator we want to focus a lot of our energies on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Through the chair. This item is a resolution to explore the feasibility, so that would we would be looking at every item within that budget. So this is just to explore the feasibility of the.
Yeah, I don't think it's at this time where we would make that recommendation without looking into all the facts and really coming back to the board with a report that says, here's what we've discovered and taking the direction of the board of what direction you would hope us to take moving forward.
I think we're growing and becoming bigger enough, more efficient than Sacramento controlling our funds here. They've already dropped the ball twice this year.
Any additional comments or questions from the board?
Yeah, through the chair, I'd just like to remind our board also that last year, I think it was, they put out a deal to provide meals for the Meals on Wheels. And despite the fact that one of our local restaurants bid on that. They went with a more expensive route and then brought the meals from Roseville up to Yuba County. So I'm all for us exploring to take this over as Yuba County and keep it local, and hopefully we can provide actually more services than we're able to provide staying with them. So
It's challenging when looking at some of the things that you were talking about, Supervisor Fuhrer, is like even the meals, there's a disparity sometimes of the cost that Yuba County pays versus Sutter County pays. And so even for legal services or transportations, and you're talking dollars at a time, and that can be rather expensive over the time of when you're providing meals for hundreds of individuals. Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's definitely worth looking at as well. So do you have a motion, Andy?
I'll move that we authorize the Yuba County Health and Human Services to explore the feasibility of directly applying for its own planning service area.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you, Tony.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we're going to move on to item 115, Community Development and Services. Approve release of requests for proposals for professional services to update the Yuba County General Plan and Plumas Lake specific plan documents, and authorize Community Development and Services staff to distribute. Morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Chairman Bradford and members of the board. I'm Kevin Perkins, the Assistant Community Development Director for CDSA. CDSA is really excited this morning, as I mentioned at your guys' last board meeting, to present the request for proposal for a professional service agreement for a consultant to help the county develop our Plumas Lake specific plan update and our general plan update. Typically, as your board knows, RFPs go on the consent agenda, but given this is the first official act of moving forward with the updates to our two biggest long-range planning documents, I felt it would be a good idea to give you a brief overview and give you an opportunity to ask any questions. First, I wanted to start out with the general plan. The general plan was last updated in 2011. I think the general plan is a really solid document. I don't expect to see a big overhaul in terms of the general plan update that we're moving forward with. Mostly, we're going to make sure that all of the elements in the general plan meet state guidelines. We are also going to explore adding an economic development element to it to ensure that we have policies in place to further our work we've been doing in economic development. Also, I'd like to see the environmental document to be used so that we can streamline projects that come forward after the general plan's adopted, so that we can use that document in EIR to make projects have an easier time forward through the environmental permitting process. And lastly, we're most likely going to have to make some adjustments, minor adjustments to our valley growth boundary. There was a project, Magnolia Ranch, that was in our valley growth boundary. It was roughly about 1,000 acres. And since the adoption of the general plan in 2011, that proposed project is now within a conservation easement. So there's no need for development on that project. So those are kind of some of the highlights that we have on the general plan update. In terms of the Plumas Lake specific plan update, to piggyback on what Tony just mentioned from HHS, the Plumas Lake specific plan was adopted in 1993. It hasn't been overhauled since 1993. I was a freshman in high school. I think I was 5'2", 110 pounds, soaking wet. And I am nearly certain that no current employee in the planning department was even alive when the Plumas Lake specific plan was adopted. So gives you some context on needing some updating on that plan. And in terms of the updates that we'll most likely see in that plan, that plan was again adopted in 93. It covers roughly 5,000 acres, and full build out would see up to 40,000 people within the Plumas Lake specific plan. Currently, the southern portion of the project has been built out, and some of the northern portion of the project has been built out. And so looking at what we can do to help build out the middle portion and reimagine what that plan looks like. It was predominantly built as a single-family residential suburban subdivision type plan, and we'll look at other uses with public feedback and feedback from your board to see how that plan should look moving forward. So that's all I have for you guys. I'm here to answer any questions that your board might have about the RFPs. And again, this is just to approve the issuance of an RFP. Once staff receives proposals, ranked proposals, and decides on which consultant we will work with, we'll bring a contract back to your board to formally get them moving forward.
Thank you, Kevin. Comments?
Through the chair. Kevin, since 1993, I think our population, our housing has just expanded a wee bit. And what we didn't expect was the traffic jams that we're having right now. Is there any chance on getting Caltrans involved in providing some source of rescue for the...
Yes, really good comment and question. And so as part of both projects, the Plumas Lake specific plan and the general plan update, we will be conferring with Caltrans. We'll give information out to them. We'll most likely meet with them. And as part of the update to these projects, there will be an environmental document, which will be an environmental impact report or an EIR. And through that process, Caltrans will give us comments on the development and that we can incorporate into both of those documents.
Well, there's two bottlenecks we need to address. We've kind of ignored the whole situation at Wheatland and the high school can opener. So I just hope we can address that.
Yeah, yes, through the chair, both of those bottlenecks coming into the county are within cities. So there is a component of that's city based, but we will look into that to try to make traffic better within the county.
Through the chair, Kevin, on the general plan update, will they be taken into consideration the wildfires we've had since 2011, especially in my district, to better prepare for that?
Yeah, again, a really good question. The CAL FIRE a few years back required that once we update our housing element, anytime we update our housing element, we need to update our safety element to make sure that we address wildfires and ingress, egress to properties in the foothills. And we last updated the safety element, I believe, 3 years ago. So we'll further look at that safety element to ensure safe access to properties, safe evacuation routes to properties, and that's something that we'll look at through this process.
Through the chair. I just wanted to let you know that I greatly appreciate all of the elements that you've listed here, and I'm fully gonna expect that you stick to them. No, I'm just kidding. No, the land use, the circulation element, and the housing element, those are the three things that we've echoed from our constituents over and over. They don't just want cookie cutter homes. They want, housing options, transportation options. We always have to think about the conservation and the farmland and everything else, but we also have to think about the influx of new residents and how we're going to handle all that. So I appreciate that being added in here, and just look forward to the whole program.
Yeah, thank you for the comment. I didn't really discuss it in my brief presentation. I was trying to be quick, but this really is going to be a public process. There's going to be a lot of public meetings. It's not going to be quick. At a minimum, I'm being maybe ambitious and thinking that I can get this done or CDSA can get this done in 2 years. The last general plan, I think it took close to 4 years for adoption. So, there's going to be a lot of public meetings, advisory boards, and, we'll set up times with your board before it comes back to ultimate adoption to get feedback and guidance on how you want us to move forward.
So just a couple comments as well. So Really excited about both of these projects, especially the Plumas Lake specific plan update. You know, as you mentioned, no one in the planning department was maybe even alive when that plan was developed. I will say that certainly none or very few of the 17,000 plus residents in Plumas Lake lived in the community when that plan was developed. Many of those 17,000 folks did not even live in Yuba County. And so giving them a voice to modernize the plan, you know, implement improved quality of life in the future section of the plan that's yet to be developed, plan area, and housing options, as mentioned, really, really important. And so I'm just tremendously excited about this effort. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you.
I'll make one more comment. You guys are making me feel like the old guy because I think I was on planning commission when you did this Plumas Lake specific plan. So I'm glad to see that that's also getting updated after all these years and keeping town down here out of my district because concrete hurts my feet. So.
Okay, any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, back to the board for a motion.
Move to approve the staff's recommendation of releasing the solicitation for the RFP.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, next we will move on to item 112. Clerk of the Board of Supervisors, appoint Shannon Granger to the Child Care Planning Council of Yuba and Sutter Counties as a community representative with a term ending September 30th, 2025.
Good morning, Chair and board members. My name is Mary Pacias, and I am your Clerk of the Board of Supervisors. As you know, we normally place all of our Child Care Planning Council of Yuba and Sutter counties appointments on consent. The reason for us going ahead and moving this application and taking it to county departments for discussion is because all the previous appointments to this committee have been members that have lived or worked in Yuba County. And currently, we do have 3 members that are serving in the Child Care Planning Council that currently live in Sutter County, but they do work in Yuba County. And so the reason for this is that the recommendation for Ms. Granger was to go ahead and appoint her as a community representative. So this applicant does not live or work in Yuba County. She works in Yuba City and lives in Live Oak, California, which we know as Sutter County. Child Care Council claims that this applicant works for the Children's Home Society of California, which is based in Yuba City. But this Children's Home Society of California does serve Yuba and Sutter counties, is what they claim. And our JPA, our Joint Powers Agreement with the Child Care Council that is dated October 6, 1998, states under Section 3 memberships that the Yuba County Board, in conjunction with the Yuba County Superintendent of Schools, shall appoint 2 council members from their respective counties to serve in each of the 5 categories that are listed. And Sutter County will also do the same. So the bylaws, which were also amended on December 14, 2004, under Article 4, nomination, appointment, and terms of membership states, and they list the same 5 categories. But the last part of the paragraph reads that every effort shall be made to ensure that the council is reflective of the ethnic, racial, and geographical distribution of the population of the county. So per our county council statement, mentioned that it is not unreasonable to interpret being that being from Yuba County means residing in Yuba County. However, the JPA does not specifically specify that. Therefore, it would not prohibit the appointment. So it's up to your board to go ahead and decide, and that's the reason it was pulled to county departments. County council, I'm not sure if you want to go ahead and add anything to that.
I think you very carefully covered it. And the only thing that I wasn't sure I heard mentioned was that the Yuba County Superintendent of Schools would also need to agree to that appointment.
Correct. So normally what Child Care council does is once it's appointed by the board, they take it to our Yuba County Superintendent of Schools for appointment.
Through the chair. This JPA was originally in 1998 and revisited in 2004. In 21 years, we've kind of grown a wee bit, and I think that it would be a good idea to review that JPA and kind of bring it up to today's standards, because we as a county are assuming responsibility for more and more things, because as we grow and our population grows and the staff grows, I think we should review these things more than once every 20 years. Because in the next 10 years, we're going to grow exponentially. So could we review that JPA at all?
If I could, through the chair, and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it wasn't so much that our growth was an issue in this case, it was the lack of applicants from Yuba County. Were there any applicants from Yuba County that were considered?
None.
Okay, well, our population has jumped a wee bit 21 years. So I would look to review this and bring it up to current standards.
Through the chair, I just have a couple questions. I know it's hard to find people to fill a lot of these commissions and councils, but the amount of public engagement over this empty seat, I don't know if we had really any other than our regular process of posting an open position. But I definitely would like to see somebody from our demographic, low income people that live in Yuba County and meet the requirements that they set forth on diversity and things like that. I'd hate to see another Sutter County person. That'd be 2 Sutter County seats on that board or more. So, yeah.
Through the chair, I would like to evaluate the DEI requirements in there. Is is it required to be proportionate? The way it's worded there, I think we should look at it first. So we can broaden the applicant base.
So Supervisor House, maybe an option would be for the board to direct county staff to have the PIO's office really promote this opening over a period of time, and then bring this item back to the board, and maybe we might have some Yuba County applicants, and if not, we could reconsider this particular applicant. Would that be?
Yeah, I think that'd be perfect. That'd be a great opportunity, just to promote it to our county members, because there's a lot of benefit to having our own people in these seats, and I'd hate to miss that opportunity because it's something that everybody's glazing over.
Okay. Additional board comments or suggestions?
Well, I like that idea. We get the list about every week from Mary of these vacancies, and I try and fill all my vacancies. It takes a lot of time, commitment to reach out to people and try to get them to fill these. I kind of lost my train of thought for a minute. Oh, Mary, this isn't time sensitive, like?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
So we could postpone it and do a recruitment in Yuba County and then bring it, if we don't get anybody to volunteer, then bring it back. That's not going to affect them.
Yes, if I go ahead and clarify for the board, so then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and keep it. So does that mean to go ahead and let Child Care Council know that this appointment will not take place?
My recommendation, if the board agrees, would be to let them know that it will not take place yet.
Okay.
I mean, I think and I don't know what a reasonable time frame would be, if a month from now there's still no other applicants, then maybe we reconsider. But
yeah, or you could let Shannon know if she moves to Yuba County, she's got it. So
okay.
So can we have the PIO's office do some social media pushes and and reach out to potentially, I don't know if there's any other organizations we should reach out to help promote it potentially, but.
Yes, and if I could, through the chair, maybe that's something where we could look at other vacancies that we have similar issues and do that as part of more of a comprehensive promotional
Be great.
effort. Yeah.
Okay. So any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I don't expect there'll be one, but I'm going to ask anyway. Any motion? I think we just, take no action, but. Okay, with no motion, doesn't move forward at this time. Okay, thank you, Mary. So next we're going to move on to item 111, Community Development and Services, receive information on a property located at 5874 Cone Avenue in West Linda. Morning, Jeremy.
Members of the board, Jeremy Strang with Community Development. Item 111 today is on the agenda at your board's request. As you may recall, Mr. Tabish Anwar approached your board at the February 11th meeting during public comment. Mr. Anwar asked your board for its consideration with regard to a recorded abatement lien for property located at 5874 Con Avenue. His specific request was that your board waive the administrative penalties of $58,700. He provided you with a bit of background information about his business, that he purchases distressed properties, rehabilitates them, and then offers them for sale. I spoke with Mr. Anwar on or about February 3rd. He emailed me and stated that he had recently purchased the property and discovered the code enforcement liens. He asked if I could help him with that. I said I cannot. The board had a hearing. They have findings, conclusions, and orders, and that his remedy would be to reach out to you all, which he's done. So for today, my recommendation is simply that you receive the information regarding the property and determine if modifying the administrative penalty is appropriate. From my staff report, the Yuba County Ordinance Code authorizes the assessment of administrative and abatement costs against the owner of a property where a public nuisance is determined to exist. The code also authorizes the imposition of an administrative penalty. On May 28, 2024, code enforcement supplied the accounting of costs and penalties to the Board of Supervisors during a cost accounting hearing as required by the code. The board found that the administrative and abatement costs and penalties were accurate and reasonable, and that the costs in the amount of $87,221.60 were properly incurred. Pursuant to the orders of the board, the administrative and abatement costs, just over $28,000, became a special tax assessment placed on the property tax roll, and then the total amount of just over $87,000 was recorded as an abatement lien. Now, the purpose of placing a special tax assessment and recording of an abatement lien is to ensure that the costs ordered by your board to be paid are recovered. The recording of documents, including our notices of noncompliance and then the subsequent abatement lien, is to give any potential purchaser of the property advance notice of pending actions associated with enforcement costs. These documents, along with unpaid property taxes, can be found and contemplated prior to the purchase or an offer to purchase of a property when performing due diligence. It can also be found through title and escrow. So the policies and procedures under which code enforcement operates are contained within Yuba County Ordinance Code Chapter 7.36 as adopted by the board. These policies are authorized by state statutes that govern the same. Those statutes and laws also consider the sale and transfer of properties to make third parties that acquire properties that are subject to enforcement liable for those costs and penalties as applicable. So, I'll share with your board that during my conversation with Mr. Anwar, he did tell me that this was a cash purchase and it did not go through title and escrow. And I think that during that meeting, Supervisor House rightfully made the comment that these things should come up during title and escrow process. And so my understanding is it did not go through that process. So the fiscal impact is that the division relies on the collection of board-approved costs and penalties for future operating revenues. And those revenues, if reduced, including those penalties, may result in our operating revenues being less and thus impacting services. So keep in mind, this is not a hearing. There's no evidence or testimony to weigh. All that happened during the cost hearing. It's my belief that the seller of the property is subject to nuisance abatement are the ones that are responsible for these costs, and during that sales process, that would be worked out. And that's why the state authorizes administrative penalties, is that in this instance, the community and the immediate neighborhood suffered the previous owner's lack of responsibility and cooperation for well over 3 years. We had 10 complainants, a lot going on there, and so that's why the administrative penalty is appropriate. But again, my recommendation is that you receive this information and you're going to make whatever decision you find is best. And so I'll leave that to you to do.
Through the chair.
Yes.
The $58,000 is the administrative penalty.
Correct. Yes. So the costs, the administrative and enforcement costs were $28,521.60. Those were placed on the property tax bill as a special property tax assessment. Those, I believe, are not in question today. That is not what Mr. Anwar had asked of you. It was simply the administrative penalty that was recorded as an abatement lien.
And the amount on that is?
$58,700.
Okay. He gets involved in taking property that would no longer be on the tax roll in a positive manner. And I've seen the results, and they're like new homes.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of the was it pirate developers, the independent developer?
Sure. We have several that we interact with, both at the building department and in code enforcement that have this model. And I think that Mr. Anwar did mention to you that he has applied for a building permit for this particular parcel. I think that permit is about ready to be issued for a brand new 1,300 square foot home. As you may recall, we did raise that dwelling. It was severely fire damaged.
All right. If we cut that in half, the 58,000, would that put a stress on our budget?
I don't know that the direct impact would be a stress on the budget. Again, I don't know that I have a recommendation either, but.
This is like volunteers for committee meetings. You can't find anybody who will go out and take a distressed property and turn it into a positive for our tax rolls. So I think that I'd like to see us reduce that by 50%.
Through the chair. Are you done, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay. My thought is I'd like to reduce the whole thing down to 28,000 because that's probably all the lot's worth anyway. And otherwise, if he walks away from it, it's going to take us how many years before the county actually takes that lot back and then puts it on the market and then ends up selling it for $28,000 or probably less. So I make a motion. I'm going to make a motion that we reduce the entire penalty of $58,700, and we'll be able to recoup the $28,000 that actually cost the county, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and it's probably all the county would recoup from that 5 years down the road when we actually took the lot back over, and no telling what more cleanup will be on that lot then too.
Certainly, and
I'll second that.
Yeah, and it's a valid point, and anecdotally or whatever, that I can tell you that when these properties do go to tax sale, they are bid on, and so we've seen vacant parcels with code enforcement activity sell to other developers for quite a lot of money where we were made whole. So it is really hard to say, but I understand your position.
Supervisor House.
Okay. Through the chair, just have a couple comments, or actually a clarifying question. If we approve this, what kind of precedent on a legal standpoint does it set going forward? Does it make it to where we need to be fair with all community members who apply with the same type of terms? Just a question.
Without doing any research on that, I mean, people will bring it up. I'm sure people will educate themselves and bring it to your attention that it's been done before. I mean, I would imagine. But as far as is your question whether it would be required on future matters that you do the same. I'm not aware of anything, but I can certainly look into that if you're concerned.
County Council, isn't each lot in each case separate? They're not judged, you know. The circumstances are different on every application, so.
I would assume
think
that would be the case, but our office hasn't been asked this question.
Okay.
Supervisor House, if I might, often the highest, steepest penalties that have been imposed by the Board of Supervisors are related to the illicit cultivation of marijuana. In fact, the ordinance is structured much differently because to make that penalty higher. And I bring this up because there could be an unknown precedent that, and I don't know if precedent is the right word, but certainly the community will educate itself. And you may find more of these requests to your board where, again, I believe, as I've stated previously, that this should have been worked out through title and escrow. And it should have been that if a sales price was agreed upon, that the person that created the nuisance and caused the suffering of the community would then be the one bearing that responsibility financially. And so for me, I've seen with marijuana cases, for instance, just to kind of address that in a very broad response, is that we have people that work together. And so they realize that they can come and ask as partners for a reduction where they're going to redo the same thing. I'm not suggesting that's here. I think Mr. Anwar does a wonderful job in our community. I think he's needed. I think he does improve the community. It has nothing to do about the individual or the parcel, but I do worry about the consequence, the unintended consequence that, depending on what your board does today, that we didn't see coming.
Just a couple clarifying questions before I vote on this. So first of all, the issue and the penalties, all that happened prior to Mr. Anwar being an owner of the property. Is that correct?
Very much so,
okay.
Yes.
And then secondly, as you mentioned, usually in a typical sale, and assuming that's the right word, this would be uncovered during title, and then the purchaser would be able, in escrow, and the purchaser would be able to make a determination, if they wanted to move forward with the purchase with the understanding that was on there, because this was a cash sale, that was not disclosed during that process. And so we believe that Mr. Anwar was unaware of this when he purchased the property.
I have nothing different to say that is not the case.
And then third, Mr. Anwar does have a history of positive rehabilitation of properties within our community and essentially making them look better, be better for the neighbors, worth more on the property tax roll in the past.
Absolutely. Many of the stipulation agreements that your board saw during my annual presentation, he was one of the developers on some of the stipulation agreements. Not all of them, but on some of them.
Okay, thank you. Any additional board comment? Okay, any public?
If I could, through the chair, and maybe this will help answer Supervisor House's question. Should the motion kind of make some findings as to why you're recommending the penalty be waived? For example, do we want a condition that a house be constructed by Mr. Anwar as part of this, or any other conditions?
I think that's great.
Sir?
I can amend my motion that we waive the $58,700 penalty, provided Mr. Anwar builds a brand new 1,300 or larger square foot home on that property.
Modify the second.
Okay.
Are you proposing that a settlement agreement be entered into with him? I don't know how you would legally require him to do anything unless you get an agreement signed.
Well, through the chair, after experience with him for over a period of years, he's proven himself. His word is good, and I think that all we'll do is drag it out a little longer and he wants to start, so.
I would suggest that if the motion is to require that, which it sounds like it is, and council advises that the mechanism of which to require that is a settlement agreement, then I would ask if the board is willing, since you've already basically put the requirement on there, just follow through with the technical way to enforce that.
Okay.
Is that,
You want me to amend my motion again?
yes, please.
If I may have misspoken as far as calling it a settlement agreement, because we're really not settling anything. It would just be some kind of agreement. I don't know exactly what we would title it, but I would just make sure that the terms are in there.
I'll amend my motion that we waive the $58,700 penalty and that the property owner will pay the $28,000-ish in actual county costs, provided that he enters into an agreement to make that a productive property back on the tax roll with a home on it, single-family home, and then that agreement, and he signs an agreement worked out with the county council's office.
All right, modify the second.
Okay. Any public comment on this item? Oops, sir, if you can come up to the podium and.
Wait till you can speak.
You have to speak in there so it's on record.
Oh. Being recorded. Go ahead.
My name's Thomas Branneman. You got me here. I was just sitting here listening to this whole thing, and it sounds like almost a hostage situation. Want to get somebody to pay the fees, and it sounds to me like this guy has done a lot of work for you in the past, or a lot of work in this county in the past on good faith. So in good faith, he wasn't given this whole thing up front to begin with. But now you want a guarantee on the backside and still want him to pay for something. And what my comment is why don't you act in good faith, wash the whole thing, and let him do what he's been doing for a while. That's just all I got to say. Instead of looking for a guarantee of something, I got raised around good old handshake deals a long time ago. And I got raised around good faith, The man says he's going to do what he's going to do. He's already got a proven track record with you boys, right? You know, say more.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, with that being it for public comment and no additional board comment at this time?
No additional board comment.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
Okay.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Okay, that's it for county departments. Next, we are going to move on to ordinances and public hearings. Natalie, if you could read that, please.
If you challenge in court the action or decision of the Yuba County Board of Supervisors regarding a zoning, planning, land use, or environmental protection matter made at any hearing described in this notice, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at such hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors at or prior to such hearing. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group.
Great, thank you. We have one item under ordinances and public hearings. It's 81, Administrative Services, Public Hearing, hold public hearing and adopt resolution, adopting required findings and authorizing purchase agent to execute a facility solutions master agreement with SiteLogic for energy improvements. While I'm thinking about it, I will open the public hearing. Good morning, Permitter.
Good morning, Board. Permitter Baines with Admin Services. I'm here to discuss the Solar Phase 2 project. I also have Site Logic representatives here. If there's any technical or specific questions that you guys may have. Just a little background. CPUC, California Public Utility Commission, and PG&E, they've created policies and programs, NEMS 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. NEM referring to Net Energy Monitoring. These programs, the excess power that solar generates, depending on which program you are in, PG&E pays you a rebate back. And as you notice, 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0, the graph here, it keeps reducing. So they buy it at a lower rate and then they sell it back at a higher rate. Site Logic reached out to us and let us know that 2.0 was about to sunset in 2023. And they actually applied with PG&E interconnection agreement that locked us into the 2.0 rate. And the reason we're here right now is we have to have it in place and operational by April 2026 to still receive the 2.0 rate. The two facilities that we're proposing to do solar at is the Sheriff's Facility and the Yuba County Library. The Sheriff's Facility would include 3 shade structures, 1 in the public-facing parking lot and 2 in the secured parking lot. The public secured or public shade structure would actually have an EV charging station. And the 2 shade structures within the facility, we're just going to be installing conduit for future because they're exempt from EV fleet. But in the future, if we ever decide to do an EV fleet, we already have the conduit in place. And for the Yuba County Library, 1 shade structure, EV charging station, pretty simple. So the solar phase 2 proposal, the shade structures are approximately $3.3 million for the sheriff and the Yuba County Library. They also propose to do LED lighting retrofit. That's approximately $1.4 million for the courthouse, jail, animal care, and the sheriff's. So the total cost for this project is approximately $4.7. And the government code 421710 allows us to get into direct contract if we meet certain requirements. Have to have a public hearing, have to public the notice or put notice in the public paper and show cost savings. So we did hire a private consultant, Capital Public Finance Group, Jeff Smalls, and he did a feasibility report. It was an 8-page report, and I consolidated it so we can put it on a couple slides. But it shows the annual savings and 20-year savings. If we look at the energy savings, what he based it upon was a 3% escalation clause with PG as the rates keep going up. He also looked at the interest rates. What we have going on right now is at 4.88%. And the Inflation Reduction Act tax credit, $750,000 approximately, was used to pay back the principal. So using all that together, this is the proposal or the feasibility report. The annual energy savings is approximately $380,000. Total is about 7.6 for 20 years. The lighting avoidance, that's basically putting in LED lighting. It's actually a 5-year savings at that 617,000. I just broke it down to 20 years, so it's easier to read. The loan payments are approximately $334,000, comes out to about 6.7 million over 20 years. Solar operations and maintenance services is approximately 15,000 annually, 306 over the 20 years. So the net savings, we're looking at approximately 62,000. annually and 1.2 million over the 20-year period. And this is the 30-year forecast. It's significantly higher because there's no loan payment. And the energy savings keep going up. So for the 30-year, we're looking at approximately 6.5 million savings. I also wanted to show what we currently do for our solar. For our energy production, we have the government center approximately a little over 700,000, what we generate. Health and Human Services, almost 700,000. And then the airport solar array, approximately 2.6 million. So the total production we have is approximately 4 million. This slide, I know it's kind of hard to see with all the different facilities, but the consumption is approximately 7.3 million is what we consume. So the larger consumption here is 7.3, and what we produce is approximately 4 million, which is about 55% what we consume. With the library and the sheriff's facility, it'll increase at about 8%, 616,000. So we'd be at about 63% of production, what we'd be producing compared to what we'd be consuming. So if there's any questions for me or site logic, we'd be happy to.
Questions or comments from board members?
I have a question through the chair. On the first slide, you had interest rate at 4 point something.
88%.
What is it?
4.88%.
Yeah. Is that fixed? And is there a local source that we could borrow money at a lower rate?
I believe it is fixed, and I believe Jess Malls did reach out to the local banks.
If I could, through the chair. So we wanted to cost it based on kind of worst case. And so that's what Jeff felt was kind of a worst case scenario if we went out on the market this year to finance the project. We also have a couple other alternatives. Mysteriously went off. Anyways, we could finance it ourselves internally through other cash reserves the county holds and kind of charge a set interest rate that way to kind of repay ourselves. We could also do an agreement with the Yuba Water Agency and with a loan structured that way, which I doubt would exceed that 4.8% as well. We'd have to negotiate the terms with the board of directors with the water agency.
So currently, when the water agency loans money, we loan it to the county at whatever interest we'd be receiving, right? Do you know what that is right now?
Did the treasurer, she just left? I believe right now our pool is earning right around, you're holding up a peace sign, is that 2%? No, 4.8. 2 to 3%.
Okay. Which would make this better.
Correct.
Through the chair, just a question on the charging stations that are open to the public. I know Marysville library area is kind of a little rough. So would that be a contract operated by, or a station operated by the charging company? Or would we be responsible for the repairs and maintenance on that?
We're looking into it right now. We're coordinating on how we want to set that up with the charging station. There's different options. Typically they charge a maintenance fee with the charging. So we're still in discussions with the vendor on how we want that set up.
Okay.
We have options.
And is that a possible income source too, the charging stations?
If it's used, yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any public comment on this item? Okay. Seeing none, I'll return it to the board for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please. We'll close the public hearing as well.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes.
Supervisor House.
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer.
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Messick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. And thanks to SiteLogic for being here today as well. Next, we're going to move on to board and staff member reports. So we'll start with Supervisor Vasquez.
Okay. March 5th, we had the, surprisingly enough, a Regional Housing Authority meeting. A very interesting first visit to the regional housing, because they seem to have the same attitude Yuba County has of finding solutions. One of the biggest things is the pension liability. They paid it off in 5 years. Plus the status of the rentals that they have at Richland. If you get a chance, drive through there. It's not like Edgewater where we have McDonald's being thrown off the side road, but it's clean, it's well maintained, and they have a history of success in all their rentals, and it's something that we apparently we're going to do something at a local level with them. And just for grins and giggles, as a supervisor, you might consider doing that. They have a Rancho Colusa apartment ribbon cutting this April 15th, 1717 Highway 20 in beautiful Colusa. And if you would like to take a trip down there, and with the video that we saw on the Human Resources, I would suggest that all new staff from now on be given a presentation by Kevin Perkins on the growth, and give people an idea of what the entire county looks like when it's growing, because everybody that's attended the meeting has been extremely satisfied with the growth of the county, and amazed at everything that's being done. That's it.
Great, thank you. Supervisor House?
Yeah, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank our local transit workers. March 18th is Transit Driver Appreciation Day, so if you take transit or work transit, just know you're appreciated. Might not be a very appreciative job. Not too many people say thank you anymore to the bus driver, but try to do that on March 18th.
Thank you. Supervisor Fuhrer? Supervisor Messick?
So this is the last time I'm going to pitch the 4-H Color Me Run, because it's this Saturday, and I hope you all can make it up there and run with me. I've been training back and forth with running on the treadmill and eating donuts, so y'all have a really good chance of beating me in this race. But it's the annual fundraiser for the Yuba-Sutter 4-H, hosted at the UC Field Station. Beautiful scenery on a run walk. Yuba Water Agency has a team, so we have for you guys available signups through the water agency. Hopefully the county can have a team as well. Other than that, just been real busy the last couple of weeks with a lot of committee meetings, Feather River Air Quality, First Five Commission, lots of events surrounding the Buckeye, and a lot of things coming up this week. That's it.
Great. Thank you. Council?
Nothing here?
Kevin?
Mysterious. All right, there we go. Was I trying to turn it on and Natalie at the same time? Sorry about that. Anyways, I did want to follow up a little bit that budget conversation, kind of a preview of what you're going to see in June. And we've talked about this in past meetings as well. We definitely see a tightening. You know, we're seeing sales tax flatten. Property tax, we're definitely having healthy growth compared to other counties, but it's still tapering off, maybe a few percentage points from what we've seen in past years. Costs continue to rise, right? That keep chugging along. So the theme for this coming fiscal year's budget is definitely going to be a much tighter budget when it comes to general fund availability. So I say that I know we had a presentation today asking for some, that would be kind of a new cost next fiscal year to help out the RCD. And we were actually, before the presentation, we were already planning as part of our budget presentation to make sure we outlined to the board clearly all of the organizations that are receiving funds from the county, so that when we do have tighter budgets, the board can kind of take a look at how much you're providing to different organizations and see if there needs to be adjustments made in order to accommodate all the requests. So
Through the chair, I get a a readout on the increase in property assessed valuation, and it's 5.8%.
Yes, we're definitely well above state average. We're still probably in the top 5 in the state as far as counties, as far as our property tax growth. We probably won't see a double-digit number this year. Maybe, but probably not. But we'll still be, much healthier than you'll see in other counties.
Thanks. Natalie?
Nothing for us, thank you.
Okay, just a couple items from me. I was at the NACO conference recently, and while I was there, I had the opportunity to meet with other California supervisors with the offices of Senator Schiff and Senator Padilla. And in Senator Schiff's office, I was able to mention a request for funding for the Army Corps of Engineers to help with the Yuba-Water Agency's water control manual update and provide some information to staff to call the Army Corps and hopefully get the funding that they need to move forward with that. I also mentioned that same thing to individual meetings with LaMalfa and Kylie's staff. I thanked LaMalfa and Kylie's staff for Plumas Lake Boulevard funding, the big federal grant we got, and updated them on the South Beale Road interchange in East and the Beale Expressway projects, and told them we would be coming to them in the future for requests for funding for those projects. And we also talked about what the county's doing with BLM land in the goldfields and recreation opportunities there. And both are willing to provide some support and help us get through that, as well as provide letters of support for South County wastewater federal grant applications that we've submitted. So I owe them some details on some of those things, and I'll be getting it to their offices so they can assist with that. So with that, that is it for our open session at this time. We do have a closed session as listed on the agenda, and then we will recess until 1:30 when we have 3 items as listed on the agenda related to some public hearings. So what we're going to
take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, we're actually going to take more than a 5-minute break. Okay. We are going to start promptly at 11:20 in closed session. So be in the room at 11:20, and we'll be starting. Thanks.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com. You've seen signs marking some of the gyms in Marysville. They're produced by Sapphire Sign Company, providing something small, large, and mobile. With decades of experience, Sapphire Signs has pioneered local production of a variety of signs, like temporary campaign-style signs, welcomes for unique events, building signage, event promotion, and vehicle customization. Need a sign? Make it a gem from Sapphire Sign Company. On the web at sapphiremarketinggroup.net. Sapphire.
Hi, I'm Neil Goforth of Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties. Caring for elders or even yourself has challenges. Comfort Keepers of Yuba, Sutter, and Nevada counties can help you address today's issues and plan for tomorrow with in-home and specialized care for you or your family members. Call us at 530-749-8800. Comfort Keepers of Yuba-Sutter and Nevada counties.
Yuba-Sutter, live. It's the truth that comes through.